This is kvci.blogspot.com, Boston G.B.R. YouTube, Part 2. Part 2. As I was saying in the last clip, I want Valdosta City School Board Superintendent Bill Casey to resign from office for not allowing our children to watch the President of the United States, Barack Obama, deliver his message. I wanted to make that clear. The tape ended before I could finish that statement. After thinking and reviewing the earlier tape, I also must readdress the statement that I made, that I am a single parent. I don't like that term, and that's not in my vocabulary. I don't like that. I am not a single parent. It takes two to tangle, and it takes two to bring children into this world. So I apologize for giving a statement or using a term that I never liked from the first time I heard it. Now back on track. I say to you that we in Christendom and in the religious community in general, if we don't stand up and allow the Rush Limbaughs and the Glenn Becks and the others and the other reverse patriots and reverse followers of all that is right, if we allow them to dominate the world stage, then we deserve what we get. How could it be that we watch all this venom and hatred being spilled under disguise as conservatism? Yeah, conservatism. Other words, if you check the annals of history, you will see that many in the 40s and 50s and 60s used the same terminology. And so we must wake up to the new realities that is before us. Now back on track. I have both of my friends back. I wanted to address the black people here in Valdosta because we seems as if though we no longer hold our leaders accountable. If you are a parent, should not you have some responsibility to attend the city council meetings and to get street paved, and so your children can get some of the $900 billion that will be coming through this city through the Skyline project? Should not your parents be concerned enough to get some of those money that went up in the building of the county building, $1 million, $2 or $3 million building? How many black contractors benefit from it? Did O'Reilly Pews build the pews inside of the courtrooms? Did Dale's electrician or did G.C. Kelly get into the contract jobs in building the county building? Did any of the black painters get into the contracts? Are they working to include blacks in the main arena? You know, this is one reason why there's so much crime on the street. I, as a concerned citizen, have gone to at least 4 or 5 meetings in the city wherein they meet about trying to put a cut on crime or trying to put a stop to crime or want to talk to the young people. But every time they have the wrong people on the stage, I wish that the mayor and our beloved council members and the county commissioners will call the young people's forum and let the young people sit on the forum or on the pulpit and let them tell them what the problems are. And I think a lot of people just may be surprised. Of course, we'll need a curtain so they can hide as they tell their truth about what the real problems are. A lot of our young people, they know what the real deal is. One brother told me he lived beneath the concrete. It's a lot of things our young people know. They are the ones that go into the probation and to go so easily go into the jails and prisons. And so they got a story to tell, but won't nobody interview them. But Brother Rhymes, I intend to do it real quick. Yeah. So I think that we need to do a walkthrough. We need to walk through the minds of our young people, and we need to listen to them. We criticize them, but are we listening to them? Sitting on the street, can't find a job. Many have felonies. So how can they work? And when you lock them out so they can't get work, you forces them into committing crimes. The government, those in power, forces those black and white children to do things that they would not normally do, but they got to have money to pay their child support, to pay their probation officer, and they go out and they rob, cheat, and steal, and kill, and whatever they need to do, because that's the way the system is set up. And then we sit back and we blame them, while the high and mighty move away from the ghetto areas, move away from the high crime rates, communities. But as Paul Harvey would say, wait a minute and you're going to get the rest of the story. Look at what's happening in England. When the real thing hit the streets of America, it's not going to be what Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, and the rest of them believe and think. Ain't nobody going to be safe. Yes, we know people got oozes and they stockpiling weapons, but you need to realize one thing. When they sold one gun, they sold two. When they sold one knife, they sold two. In many cases, those who are in the illegal activities, they are not as separated and as hateful as some of the everyday people who want to hold on to power. And so they share what they have with other people. Yeah. Many of certain people tell black people what the real deal is. Some of them tell people about their parents and how their parents operate and negotiate, and they don't even like it, but they won't say nothing, but they'll tell other people about it. So if there is another uproar in this country, it may just not be what Glenn Beck and the rest of these modern day Christians and modern day patriots believe. And it's a strange thing, and I'm pleading with America to understand one thing. It's a new type Negro on the block. I repeat, there is a new type Negro on the block. For nearly 500 years, we have been suppressed and oppressed. As the Valdosta 1860 Charter put it, that the mayor and council shall pass all proper and necessary laws for the control and suppression of slaves and free people of color in said town, and to abate all nuisances arising from hogs, dogs, and other animals straying in this city. Well, in 2004, as a United States veteran, as a human being, I was outraged. And I asked them to take it down, and the mayor and several elected officials until this day are on record as fighting against not removing that charter. But in the end, it was removed. And I told them during my first presentation that I was 100% sure that it would be removed, and that if they did not remove it, that God would send greater councilmen and greater mayors that would make it right. A few weeks ago, they also pushed citizens to be heard. Mayor John Freddy, Councilman Wright, Councilman Yotes, Councilman White, Councilman Payton, Councilman Carroll, Councilman Norton, and Councilman Vickers, whatever it was, they are the ones that were serving when they pushed citizens to be heard. To the last item on the agenda, America, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Cosby, Louis Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, the Honorable Tyrone Brooks, the Honorable Senator Brown, the Honorable Helen Helen Butler, that is. They pushed the citizen to be heard to the end of the agenda, and the next thing following is adjournment, so nobody can respond, can answer the question that the citizens ask. Isn't that stupid? And we, the people in Valdosta and Lowndes County, we don't give a dime. It's as if though we just willingly give up our rights to those in power because we don't know nothing about Jesus, Muhammad, the son of Amram and Yoshabel, Moses, when it comes down to the voice of the people. Jesus, everything that he did was on behalf of the people, for the uplifting and the mobility of the people. Not because of self-gain nor for fear. May the 5th, 2005, 15 of us was arrested and taken to the Lowndes County Jail for standing up to get a Barber Park renamed. That's a local park in our community. And it was renamed. I told the mayor and council again at that time that it would be changed, and if it was not, that greater men and women would come by and they would do the work that they failed to do. And I said the same thing about this agenda, moving citizens, the voters in Valdosta, the voters in Valdosta, Georgia, must vote every last one of them who participated in it out of office. They need to be out, O-U-T, out of office. If they don't respect the voters, no more than that. And Councilman Yotes, said that the people, citizens to be heard, leave the meetings and didn't give them the respect that they give us because they listen to us, and he said it was not right. And so he agreed with that. And so what happened? If that is true, then pretty soon they are going to move the awards and presentations and visitors that come from overseas, when they reward them and give them keys to the city, then all of them going to be pushed to the back as well. And if they are not, then hey, something wrong with that picture. And that is why they need to be voted out of office, including Councilman Yotes. If that's the extent of his understanding of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. This is not condemnation. He said this. I'm not lying on the man. And there was others that undoubtedly went along with him. But even before that, I heard our mayor and council. I heard the mayor and our council represented through the mayor on a local radio station even 2 years, or at least a year and a half ago, and I got it recorded, saying that they need to put the citizen to be heard to the back of the meeting, and they need to cut it to 3 minutes. They got 5, but this individual said 3. This was discussed on a local radio station. So it seemed like the people on the local radio, conservative radio station, has more influence with our elected officials than the voters. There's something wrong with that picture. And you don't have to be a rocket test scientist to understand that one. Now, you who listen by way of YouTube, blogs on my blog, and as you already know, all these YouTubes are word on the street. And so if you get this information through the word on the street, I'm telling you to pass this information on to your neighbor, on to your brother, your sister, your family member, or to your enemies. Because if it is truth and good enough for you, then it also should be good enough for them. And so, I'm going to close now. This is clip 1 of 2. But just before I close, I'm going back to our black leaders in particular. How could it be that our black leaders can espouse to being faithful worshipers of Jesus Christ, and me as your little brother, they criticize me, but if I was a traditional minister as I used to be, I would not have been on my post when all of these conditions that you're looking at, garbage was out in the Hudson Docket area, and I sat in the confines of my church and said nothing, or the people who lived there didn't know me because I didn't go out to visit them, or that I didn't make contact with them to be able to understand the problems that they were having. The reason why I'm able to do what I do is because the people have confidence, and they know that the God I serve is not like the God others serve. When they see me do what I do, and people won't even give me a dime, not even for gas, I catch hell doing what I do. I told them that these rusty guard rails leading into the homes where little children are playing, There could be lead poison in this paint. And I commend the city, Mr. Stalver. They did address most of these issues. They jumped right on the case and made a difference. But I didn't do it from the pews of my church, because I found out years ago that most of us believers in God is scared as hell. And God didn't give us that spirit. You know, when I talked to an elderly lady, and she told me that these bats was up in their attic and dropping, waste down through their bathroom vents, I became concerned about that. To me, that's what Jesus do for people. I'm talking my Jesus now. My Jesus and my God make me feel pain towards other people. And so I can't just sit in a pew and holler hallelujah. I just can't do it, y'all. These were the dumpsters, y'all. This was the young girl whose mother told me she got cut on the glass that was beneath the swings, which I'll show you in a minute. Yeah. These were bats all over the place out there. Oh, they fixed it now, I understand. But that for years, people complained about these bats. And out in the play area at night, right before dark, the bats be everywhere in the playground. The bats be playing, but the children couldn't play. But thank God, they finally listened to me. But I mean, the preachers, I wasn't in the pulpit. I wasn't a lawyer. I wasn't an attorney. I wasn't the black judge. You know what? This was the glass in the play area. You know, the Georgia Bar Association, we need to ask them how many black judges they have in the Southern Judiciary Circuit. Because most people are losing credibility in the judicial system because there's very few, if any, black judges in this circuit. In 2011, can you believe that? Now, I'm sure that these black attorneys would say something, but we know they can't because, they got something around here they call a white ball. Look at here. These were the swings, and they were like that for the whole summer. The little black and white children didn't have anywhere to play. This was one lady's residence. They had stuff out there, been out there for days. Nobody come to pick it up. You all ask me, Brother Rhymes, why do you do that? You crazy, aren't you? I said it earlier, all of us can't go to sleep at the wheel, y'all. And all of us can't confine ourselves in the church and refuse to go to city council meeting, county commissioners meeting, and sit down and tell people how good we love God and Jesus and Mohammed and the son of Amram and Yoshabel and Moses, while our brothers and sisters and our nation going to hell, being torn apart, and all we can do is talk about we getting to heaven because we have no faith that this world is going to exist. Everybody looking for doom and gloom, and it's like ain't a damn thing we can do about it. And I'm telling you, y'all excuse me when I say damn. I don't even cuss. My children know that. I'm only doing that to try to get something through to your head to let you realize that we got to do something before we die. Look at that. In time I started bringing this to the attention. When they saw me out there because they know me, they went and took these things down immediately. I had an elderly lady, 70-some years, she called me and she said, George, they done started to work. Now look, when I went out there and saw all this, look at this ragged edges where these children play at. Now those are splinters. See that? Yet and still. See, my God, this is what my God does today. See, my God used to let me see stuff like this, and I wouldn't say a darn thing, because I was living in fear. I was scared as hell. See what they have to play in? Then they wonder why our children come up feeling inferior, why they don't want to go to school, and why they don't have self-pride in themselves. It's all because we who say we are followers of Jesus Christ, Mohammed, and the rest of the bunch, we say one thing in church while we collect the money, or while we look good in the community to show ourselves high and mighty, but when it comes down to the brass tacks of things, we're nowhere to be found. And then when people come to the community, they look over the people who are actually trying to do something. Brother Solomon, King Solomon Masonic Lodge over there, we don't very seldom if ever call him to stand up and speak. I watch all these religious singing pro groups they have called in, have them from all over the nation come in here, but they could at least set 5 or 10 minutes aside for some person to stand up and talk to the people on the political issue, or at least say something about voting, or at least encourage the young people, at least challenge the young people, but they just get in there and sing and sing and sing and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and our children continue to feel the jails, the jails, the jails, the prisons, while we keep playing our religious game. Let me say one other thing and I'll close this out. Y'all may think I'm criticizing the religious circles and criticizing God. Some of you may call it blasphemy. But I know what I'm doing. because I read Luke 4:18. I read it and I read it well. God gave me that when I was a young man. Luke 4:18, you might want to read it sometimes. And so I refuse to play the game. And so today I'm going to share this with you as I close. With all the talk that we hear in church, all the religious people that we hear, I'm going to leave this with you. We as black African Americans, we need to stop, y'all. We need to stop. There is no need of us continuing to argue. The Muslims are right. The Jews are right. The Hindu is right. The Baptists, the AME, the CME, they all are dirty religions. The Seventh-day Adventists, the Jehovah's Witness, only my religion is right. And the rest of them are wrong and they are going to hell. I believe we need to stop that foolishness. I used to be the same way. But there was something that happened in my life. And it changed me. And I will never go back to the ways of the old, the ancient. So, Brother Rhymes, what are you saying? What point are you trying to make to us? I'm saying to you, never argue. Never argue over a dirty glass of water. When you hear Rush Limbaugh, Hannity, the black female columnist Star Parker, talk about our president and can't find anything good to say about him, as if though God need to repent himself for allowing that man to come through his mother's womb. Well, I'm going to say this to you. Please, y'all, don't argue over a dirty glass of water. Please, stop it. Please, stop it. Stop it and stop it now. Stop arguing over a dirty glass of water. Don't argue over your religion compared to others. Don't argue about which president was the best. Short form, don't argue over a dirty glass of water. My beautiful brothers and sisters, please stop that religious mess. Just set a clean glass of water up beside it. Just set a clean glass of water up beside it. And let the people choose for themselves. And this is what Brother Rhymes is trying to do. I'm trying to give you a clean glass of water so you can see through Rush Limbaugh. You can see through Hannity. You'll be able to see through Glenn Beck. And you will know that what you see is not necessarily what you get. Always remember that. So don't argue over the wicked ones in our government. Just set a clean glass of water up beside it and let the people choose for themselves, because the people will always make the right decision. But don't you be hoodwinked, bamboozled, and for God's sake, you may not send me a dime because I don't ask for your money. But when you find somebody in your local community that is speaking truth to you, support them over those who give you a dirty glass of water. I'm going to say to you, bye-bye, we're gone. And I thank God for the United States of America being the nation that it is. Peace. Bye-bye, we gone.